Okay, adding and subtracting integers. If you looked at the integers packet that was in the notes, you would come across this page at some point when it comes time to just add and subtract. Okay, a couple different rules. First things first, whenever you have double signs, you're going to turn them into a single sign. What that means is if you have a combination of plus signs and minus signs, two of them, and nothing in between them, so no number, no variable, no nothing, you're going to combine them into a single sign. So if those signs are different, you're going to be subtracting. And if the signs are the same, then you're going to change it to addition. The common one to see is a repeating negative sign. Add a line, change the sign. You probably heard that one before. So once you've eliminated your repeating signs, now it's time to just add and subtract. So there's two scenarios. Either both numbers you're adding are going to have the same sign or subtracting, or the two numbers you're putting together are going to have different signs. We go about them in two different ways. So if the integers have different signs, we're going to subtract the two. It's biggest minus smallest, and when we get our result, we just need to look at the sign of the larger number, and that'll be the sign of the value. So if the larger number is positive, the answer will be positive, and if the larger number is negative, then our answer will be negative. So if both integers have the same sign, then we treat it like addition. I mean, that makes sense if they're both positive numbers, I'm sure, but it's the same if they're both negative. When you combine two negative numbers, you're just going to get a number that's further away from zero, a larger negative, if you will. Okay, so now I'm going to go through these 8 examples, 4 at a time. But I want you to notice that you keep seeing 15 and 21, but the signs change, and it means everything. The results are all going to be different. So when you add and subtract integers, the big thing is just really paying attention to the details. All right, well, we're going to try the whiteboard out here. Okay, sorry, my chair's a little squeaky. Okay, number 1, negative 15 plus 21. We've got a negative 15. We have a positive 21. Those signs are different. So we're going to tell ourselves it's just the largest minus the smallest. Well, hopefully you see that you get 6 here, but it's a good opportunity to do the borrowing. So I'm going to do that. 11 minus 5 is 6, and it looks like we get just 6 for an answer. Okay, the reason that it is positive 6 is because 21 is the larger number and the sign is positive. So the larger value always keeps the sign. Okay, number 2, everything's positive, so the signs are the same. We treat it just like addition. And when they're both positive, get into the habit of either circling or putting a box around your answer. Okay, so same signs, just like adding. Different signs, subtract. Number 3, they're both negative. So this is going to have a similar result to number 2, just a different sign. So the signs are the same. You tell yourself, okay, I'm treating it like I'm adding. Except we got to tell ourselves it's an even bigger negative. Well, if you owed somebody $15 and you borrowed 21 more, you're going to owe them even more money than you did at the beginning. So it kind of makes sense when you put a bunch of negatives together, that negative grows. It's further from zero. Okay, number 4 is more like number 1. Except this time, the signs are in a different order. We have a positive 15. We have a negative 21. We're going to tell ourselves largest minus smallest again. But this time we tell ourselves the answer is negative 6. 21's the larger number. 21 keeps the sign. Okay, for the last 4 over here, these ones are going to have some double signs we're going to have to take care of before we put them together. So one extra step. All right, so here's where our double sign is on number 5. And this is where it's kind of tricky sometimes. We have a set of parentheses, okay, there. But there's really nothing going on in the parentheses. It's not like you're multiplying or dividing or distributing anything. Well, actually, in a way, we haven't really talked about this yet, but you're distributing the negative. And when you think of a repeating negative sign, think of a negative multiplied by a negative. One of the first things you learn, right, is a negative times a negative is positive. So it's kind of like a contradiction. Your English teacher would tell you not to speak with a double negative because you kind of contradict what you think you're saying. But enough about that. Okay, so for number 5, since we have 2 negative signs in a row and the signs are the same, we're going to actually turn this into negative 15 plus 21. So really we're adding there. So now we have a situation where the signs are different. So you're going to tell yourself 21 minus 15, and I think we've established that that's 6 by now. Y is a positive 6. The larger value carries the sign, so it's positive 21. All right, so number 6, similar situation, except for we're working with positive 15, so this one becomes 15 plus 21. Okay, repeating negative, turn it into addition. And now if we add those together, and I'm sure some of you are pretty good with your addition skills, you don't really need to write this step out, that's okay. But usually when I'm doing examples for everybody, I'm going to try and list all the steps. And as we get better, we'll start learning how to condense those steps a little bit. Okay, number 7, negative 15 plus a negative 21. This time the repeating signs alternate. So we're going to turn that into subtraction. Okay, so it was kind of disguised, but really, sorry, that's a lazy 2. I'll try not to do that. We have 2 signs that are the same. We treat it just like adding. Except you got to tell yourself, well, if they're both negative, or even further away, it's a larger. That's not really accurate to say a larger negative. I should say a lesser negative. The value is even less, but it's further away from 0. All right, last one. Okay, 15 plus a negative 21. That would be the same as saying 15 minus 21. Now there's another lazy 2. Okay, signs are different this time. We subtract. 21 minus 15 is 6, but this time we're going to be negative. The larger of the 2 is negative. And that's pretty much it right there. Believe it or not, adding and subtracting integers, I would say it's probably at least half of all mistakes that students make at every level. It's these mistakes that'll also drive you crazy because they're avoidable. So, just to recap, okay, always eliminate double signs. And after you've done that, tell yourself, are the signs the same or are they different? Same signs, just like adding. Different signs, largest minus smallest. And the larger number always keeps the sign. So there you have it. Till next time.